I mean, he's done well in majors. Let's see if he shows up in Collegiate. And him versus KMA right now. Toon Link versus Yoshi. Okay.
The tournament that I believe you're looking for would be Rise and Grind out in Waco. So yeah, if anyone should know that, it's probably me. So
yeah, exactly.
We are going to get to it. Game number 1 and immediately starting things off. Put them in an egg and then down air them. Oh my goodness. Pharaoh, oh my gosh. Open up the halal cookery the way that he's cooking them.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely cooking something right now. And with, the start, too, this match gets that down beat. And that's going to be stocked from Pharaoh with only 27 dealt to his name. But I was going to talk about how Toon Link is an interesting option because you're talking about a character that has projectiles that can kind of just chip away at Yoshi and keep him at bay, because really the only option that Pharaoh has to zone and the only projectile he has is the egg, which can be beat out by so many of the Link's projectiles like Boomerang and Arrow. But it looks like to Pharaoh it just does not matter whatsoever, as he's kind of he was lapping in stock. But I mean, Pharaoh has quite the lead going into this match.
I mean, this is Pharaoh you're talking about. You grew up in Jersey. You are in sortie hell, basically.
That's true.
Like, if you're not having to deal with the Crom back then of Rivers, you're having to deal with janky hitboxes one way or another. But D is going to take that and rewind it back. KMA got a pretty decent KDA on him. 2 stocks apiece now, but a little bit of damage to make up. And Pharaoh looking to make it a full stock lead. You know that you got the straight hit KO power to do it. Nair to put him off stage. And
good setup.
You got the egg and the Nair to finish it off.
Yeah, and that was just a good setup from Pharaoh. In all fairness, getting that edge guard off and being able to set up with the egg. That's what makes Pharaoh so good. It's just his play around egg. And right now, even though KMA is doing well with his combos with Boomerang, getting all these tilts out and kind of just trying to rush in against Pharaoh, it just seems as if Pharaoh's almost one step ahead, and KMA trying to catch up, of course. Oh, but looking for those down airs. Not going to kill just yet.
Oh. Yeah, but we saw it just for a second, going for it with that up air. At the very least, show the intent. Put the fear of Osiris in the man. And now, KMA going to be fighting for their life, but you got to be able to put your feet on the ground, and Pharaoh says no. Send the man up to Ra. Pharaoh taking a 2-stock lead for the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah, and bro's got the eye of the tiger going into that. And you can see that Pharaoh is very, very happy with that win. Of course, KMA, putting up quite the fight against Pharaoh. Just, being able to get all these straight hits with these F-tilts, or just tilts in general, because they do so much damage. Not only that, but they have really, really big hitboxes and can kill really early. So for KMA to, kind of just mount on a little bit of comeback and, just get a stock. That's all that really matters against a PR player like this. So you can't be mad if you're KMA about your performance against Pharaoh, because it was a very, very good, attempt at potentially getting 2 stocks. I think if you gave KMA a little bit more time to kind of just devise a plan, that definitely would have happened. But Pharaoh just keeping that resilience, on lock. And with the 2-stock lead going into this next match, it's going to be difficult for Seton Hall to potentially knock him out. So Stinky 3 going to come in, and his Bowser is a force to reckon with. He's a very, very good player.
Going to have to remind y'all one time to disconnect your Pro Controllers. Just, yeah.
The classic.
We're going to be doing this. Yeah, and also, is this, you're going to have to change your tags too real fast. We got the Bowser. This is something that I kind of wonder about the wisdom of this pick, because that Pharaoh has fought Bowsers before, and not only that, had to forge this Yoshi against the preeminent Bowser in the game as a whole, not even New Jersey. Leon, who is, I believe, present at this very tournament, being, I believe, a native of New Brunswick.
Yeah, he is a New Brunswick native, and I mean, you're talking about how much Pharaoh has played against Leon. He actually beat Leon at Center Stage, which is a local in New Jersey, near New Brunswick as well. So Pharaoh knows this matchup pretty well and has a win against, you know, someone like Leon. That's definitely going to help him out when it comes to trying to knock out Stinky without losing any of his stocks. That down are going to do so much damage and catches with the up smash. Oh, even with good DI, that's still going to kill. But this is so difficult if you're Bowser, right? You're a big body character, and you're going to get hit with so many combos that Pharaoh is just trying to think of, like those up tilts right there into the up airs. It's a lot of damage you're taking, but at least you're Bowser, right? All this damage really doesn't equate to much unless you die!
Oh my god! Oh, how you feel about Turtle Soup, my guy? That was nutty, but Stinky 3, this is a Bowser that you got to know what you're getting yourself into if you're picking a character like Bowser. There's a lot of trade-off to be had. Like, yeah, you've got a lot of power, but there's a lot of weight. That makes you about as means you're getting juggled like a Cirque du Soleil act. And now, as Pharaoh waiting on ledge, waiting for Stinky 3's recovery options, this is troublesome to say the very least. In that up air, again, sharking underneath the platform. Pharaoh says you gotta need to be at least on the level of Leon if you want to contend with me, and Pharaoh is not done, Jellyfish.
He is not whatsoever, and you can see the patience. Oh, that down there, finally gonna take that stock. And hey, man, if you're Stinky, you're taking that. You know, you're kind of being put into the blender the entire time.
Oh!
Pharaoh looking for the forward air spike.
I clenched. That was... I'll say it, I don't care, but you got the spot dodge going, and the up air is taking 2 of these stocks, but the coup de grace, it's a matter of when, not if, for Pharaoh. Oh! He mandates it, and it is preordained. It's going to be the down air that's going to winds up taking it for Pharaoh. And yeah, hanging on to that last stock for dear life, but taking all 3 off of Stinky 3.
And fair play to Pharaoh. Again, you're when you talk about, you know, characters like Bowser, like all these super heavies, you when you play them, you pretty much just sign an invisible contract being like, hey, you're gonna have a bad time when it comes to characters like, you know, Yoshi, like all these zoners in this meta. And so I know that Stinky definitely knew what he was signing up for, but I mean, you're going up against Pharaoh. It's a tall order to just knock him out. But fair play. I mean, you're taking a stock off of Pharaoh. You're whittling him down a little bit. So now it just comes down to, you know, your other players in your team to kind of just clutch up, you know, get a lot more stocks that than Rutgers is getting themselves out of Pharaoh. So I mean, Pharaoh's down to 1 stocks. This is still possible for Seton Hall with 3 players on deck. So Apollo going to be the next player, and I believe this is a Mario coming in to potentially get Pharaoh out.
Could very well be the case, but also, yeah, I do kind of question the rationale behind the pick. Not to say that Stinky 3 is a bad player, we just didn't get to see a whole lot of it because Pharaoh has contested against Bowser so often. So we are going to see a ZSS, and I can see maybe this working out at the very least, right? Like you got to take 1 stock. That's your goal, and it could have been 2 if Pharaoh, let's be honest, didn't get just a tad greedy at the very end.
Yeah,
because we saw that whole mix-up on stock number 1 against Stinky 3, where it was just cooking him with the side B, aka whoops, I misinput the button, and it just wound up working out. Pharaoh trying to do some dirty deeds, dirt cheap off the stage, but Apollo going to try to make this happen, keeping things at a relatively even keel.
Yeah, and this is tough, you know, when you are trying to play in the air with your aerials, because ZSS is well known for, you know, those up airs, back airs, and stuff. When a character like Yoshi is given double jump armor, it is super difficult to get your combos off, especially if Pharaoh is aware enough at what times to throw out that double jump just to get away, just to get out of those situations. The up air, there you go. The weight of ZSS being shown in full and flying colors for Seton Hall right there. Dying super early on a stage like Small Battlefield is something you really don't want to do against Pharaoh.
Yeah, you put extra emphasis on flying and flying colors, didn't you? I saw that.
Yeah.
But Pharaoh, that was, again, you're talking about offense that is tried and tested. You're not just fishing for these tilts. You know the range, you know what's punishable, and you know what isn't. And you got to think that going for these grabs is extra dangerous if you're ZSS. You might be shying away from that simply because if you miss a grab, you are liable to be punished. This could be Pharaoh lulling them into a false sense of security. Well delayed by Pharaoh to get back to ledge, and now going to mix them up on the ground and do even more, though. Yeah, Apollo is doing well to space out these aerials to the point where you're at least able to connect at a relatively consistent pace.
Yeah. Oh, and Pharaoh finally finding another stock. This guy is on fire in this crew battle. Could he find another stock? Who knows? But if he keeps this up, we might see a 3-stock in this stream right now. But Apollo has to somehow finish it off, and there you go. Gets that side B to finally knock out Pharaoh, a troublesome player. But, I mean, Pharaoh with, what, 8 stocks? That's crazy. And I can't believe I just saw Rutgers A just rock, paper, scissors to see who goes in. That's got to be some kind of BM, am I right? Like,
yeah, but then again, if you're Rutgers, why don't you get in their heads? Like, you say, like, it doesn't matter who it is. Why don't we just toss it up and see what happens? So we're going to get that now. And Rutgers A, man, if they're able to do that, then more power to them, because you just got one of your players taking more than half the stocks off of the opposition. So I think that Seton Hall is going to have to be more wary than they are otherwise.
Yeah,
it's got to be troublesome when even your guy Apollo, who again was not playing nearly poorly enough to be 3-stock there. Let's keep it a stack.
Absolutely.
That was as far as getting cooked goes, that was as respectable as you possibly could have looked.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to see Cub come in with his Sora. A very interesting choice, but I feel like, I was talking about the rock, paper, scissors, and potential BM. I think that just shows the strength that Rutgers has to have that confidence, really, to just be like, okay, yeah, you can go in. Like, it doesn't really matter what happens. And I think that really just shows the capacity that Rutgers A has to show in Collegiate, and that is exactly why they are seed number 1. Again, when you have a team like that, a cohesive team that's super strong, almost anything is possible for you guys.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Cub can do to maintain the momentum. I mean, you got to think, especially when you're 5 stocks up in a crew battle, if you're getting trades, then that means you're winning. Because it's if you're getting taken to 150%, that's fine. Your opponents there, they're feeling the pressure a lot more than you are, and that the Daga off stage, you're gonna have yourself a whole decisive advantage. The Keyblade, again, punishing that grab, those quick buttons of Sora's. You might as well be able to swing that Keyblade fast, and yeah, no shortage of quickness on the side of Rutgers A in any regard.
Ooh, the side B almost getting a kill right there. Apollo, which definitely could have relieved a little bit of the deficit that they have, but finds it there with the up B. And I mean, that Keyblade just plays such a big role in not only the combo game of Sora, like you see right there, but also just catching your opponent out in, certain areas where they're not expecting it. Because you saw, that Nair hitting from behind, you can be certain that, your opponents are just not expecting that and are just, kind of flustered by it, and then try to throw out a weird option that just doesn't work, and then Cub finds a punish for that. But yeah, I mean, strong showing from Apollo, getting another stock for Seton Hall. So it's still a 5-stock deficit, a deficit nonetheless, but you're still kind of back to where you were initially. And so now you have to bring in a player that can counteract Sora. And you don't see a lot of Soras, in New Jersey. You might see it, in other players like Glutamate, who is pretty close to New Jersey, and we've seen him at Fusions. But again, matchup inexperience is definitely the name of the game for Rutgers A.
Yeah, and that seems to be, when you're talking about crew battle strategy, right, Jellyfish?
Yeah.
I think that could very well be the difference. Sending in Stinky 3 instead of someone like an Apollo, who was giving Pharaoh something to think about, was asking some pretty difficult questions of him, all things considered. Where, even though obviously Pharaoh able to take 2 stocks off the man. You also saw the willingness to challenge and to space out aerials just a little bit better. That's the whole thing, because you're fighting against the best Bowser in the world on a regular basis. What are you going to do to him? And that's Pharaoh straight up saying, don't recite the dark magic to me, which I was there when it was written. Like, you are kind of saying, like, you have the room to disrespect at that point, because it's like, what are you showing me that I haven't already seen? As Crimson Abe will eventually come on with the dagger and the cloak of Joker well in hand, and I have to see if this is any room to make up the deficit, because you have to play pretty much out of your mind in order to make up 5 stocks.
Yeah, you gotta bring the MK Leo at home out for this, honestly. When it comes to, oh my god, Cub, relax. He has a huge combo off, 46% dealt off of that combo. And that's the thing with Sora, is that hitting those combos off, you know, with the fair Nair 1 and 2, just does so much damage and puts your opponent in a, you know, precarious position. Oh my god, Crimson Abe looking for that down air, trying to get that stock as soon as possible. And that's the thing, when you're at a deficit, you gotta go for all these high risk, high reward options, no matter the cost.
I mean, there's no other choice, right? And so
exactly.
If you are Cub right now, maybe you're feeling the pressure. You don't want to be choking this, but these KOs off of the top are not going to come nearly as easy, because you're on Town and City. Down air is going to take that stock. It's a scoop-up option for Joker. Turns out it can also KO even without Arsene, one of the few options that Joker has to get relatively consistent KOs without the need of the persona.
Yeah, I mean, Joker's definitely, you know, that character where you have to be so consistent with your combos. And, I mean, Crimson Abe has been showing that off, and a huge punish right there from Cub. Right idea from Crimson Abe, right, to go for, you know, the Rebel's guard. But Cub, you know, one step ahead, finds that punish, and being able to come back on the stage with a character like Sora, whose recovery is immense, going for edge guards really isn't, you know, going to be too uncommon for Cub right now to find, you know, earlier stocks.
Looking for that back air to get him off stage just a little bit. And again, it's at that point, you're not even looking for a KO. You're just looking for knockback, right?
Yeah.
You're looking to get this through his feet off of the ground, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You're not gonna stale it or anything like that. You are going to do is plant your feet, wind up, and swing away, and that is a beautifully executed F smash upon the recovery. That's the danger of not just snapping the ledge. I get that you have that luxury as Sora, but guess what? Joker has the luxury of chasing you down and, by virtue, knocking you out.
Yeah, and it's crazy because a lot of these kills and a lot of, you know, the stocks and damage that Crimson Abe did really wasn't from Arsene. It really was just catching Cub, you know, with his recoveries, his recovery options like that, you know, just not being able to grab on the ledge, and then Cub panicking, just trying to find his footing. Crimson Abe really did just have that punish game down, like, you know, down to a T, and now has to go up against Gary, who either has a Byleth or a Sheik to go up, and I'm feeling Byleth from Gary today to counteract Joker, simply because of the range that Byleth offers, as well as, you know, a very, very busted Nair, kind of just to approach shield.
No, you're absolutely right, because you're not really trying to play the speed game with Joker. Yeah, if you're Sheik, you get to win that. But also,
Kazuya! I forgot he has that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we were talking about it, right? Like, what is it that we could possibly do? You could try to play the speed game with that Sheik, or potentially bring on the power and maybe the zoning with Byleth. But instead, you're going with Kazuya, who. Let's go ahead and reconnect your controller. But we got some stick drift elsewhere as well, so. Someone's got to fix something, and this is yet another reminder to disconnect your Pro Controllers.
Every time, y'all.
Every time. These children got television.
You know, technically, this
I hear Kelvin in the background.
You know, technically speaking, this could be a stock taken. But no, we're not like that nowadays. But, I mean, yeah, we're talking about Kazuya versus Joker, a very volatile character in Kazuya, where all it takes is one hit, and it's lights out for a stock. But I feel like Joker just has that ability to kind of stay back, especially, you know, with Gun. And the movement that you have with that, you know, not only do you have the Rainmaker and the one that, you know, you spin in the air, you know, a lot of options for you to approach and, you know, get combos, because Kazuya is kind of a big character that you can combo. Granted, he is heavy, so that is definitely a tough task to do if you're Crimson A, but definitely not impossible.
Bro, I was going to play some triangles.
Uh-oh.
So I guess we're going to be checking our buttons. I'm assuming this is what this is.
No, they're going. They're going.
We're going. We're going. All right, let's go, baby. So we've got Kazuya
No way. Oh,
with the overcoat. No persona to match it, but have to see if we can recover. Kazuya going way the hell off stage for that one, and will eventually take it with the Devil Wings. And that's going to be restocks the one now. Crimson Abe. Seton Hall is running out of real estate and fast.
Yeah, it's tough against a character like Kazuya, where now if you're at a deficit, you're kind of forced to approach, and that's exactly what Kazuya looks for.
Oh.
That opening to just get those combos off with the electric Wind God Fist. Right now trying to look for a stage spike, but not able to get that. Misses the raindrop.
No.
Crimson Abe looking for the edge guard. Had the right idea, but you gotta watch out because Rage Drive is on deck for Gary. And once he gets it, it's over. Never mind, it's not. Cool, lovely.
Well, I mean, you're lucky that you're on Hollow Bastion, right? You get to kind of going in the corner, and you're only at 105. It's livable at the very least.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, maybe it's a point perhaps that why does this character get a final smash and no one else? But that's for the developers to work out. I clearly don't get paid enough to do it, but Kazuya getting paid. The Mishin Naimatsu as Gary going to take it for the Scarlet Knights, and all of a sudden, Seton Hall down to the last pirate.
Yeah, I mean, this might be the last time that Seton Hall says R. We get it, RU, lovely. But, I mean, if Rutgers can bring Seton Hall, you know, down. I mean, they brought him down the last player. Seton Hall needs to find a way to clutch that up, and we almost saw that earlier, of course, with Vernius and Ramapo. Whether or not, you know, Seton Hall has a player like that clutch up ability to kind of just, you know, maintain that endurance, because you're talking, you know, a player with 2 stocks like Gary as Kazuya, and then you have 2 other players as in Cheese, Nimbus, Pataya, Luminous. It's a tough order because you have so much variety. You have so many options as your next 2 players, and they're all super good. So if Mr. L, there we go, Mr. L can just find a way to knock out Gary and then slowly keep up that momentum that he has from that win from Gary, we could see Seton Hall, you know, get this comeback, you know, when it seems like the light at the end of the tunnel is so far. No matter what, it's still there, and you can still reach for it. Whether or not Mr. L has the ability to reach and wants to reach for it, that is the question, as he goes his coveted Luigi.
Yeah, and this could be problematic, but then again, this is Kazuya, right? Which is basically just Luigi adjusted for inflation. So now that we're dealing with Luigi proper, you have the ability to cheese, but also, goodness gracious, Kazuya is just a little bit more straightforward with the game plan. Going to be missing on the sweeps, but that's nothing that they can't really make up.
Oh!
Devil Fist!
Oh my god!
Oh. Looking for the double Devil Fists off of the side B, and that could have been troublesome at the very least.
But that's damage nonetheless right there for Gary as he looks for the double wings and takes that stock. You know, Mr. L really with no good options out of that platform. And fair play to Gary for, you know, being able to hit that. That is difficult to do. Oh, but you ain't going to miss that up B. There you go, Mr. L finally getting that sweet up B, and I love the sound of it. Just taking that stock. Uh-oh. Could we see a 0? No, not at the right percentage.
No, they were quick on the rollout. You knew that Gary wanted absolutely no part of that, but it is going to be an uppercut right to the neck that sends Mr. L off of the stage. You only have 2 stocks to work with. Make that one. Gary It's going to send Seton Hall to last stock, and what a performance by Rutgers A here as Seton Hall has been taken to task firmly by the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about it before. Seton Hall, their first match today, they had to pair up against Rutgers B, where they lost that match. Oh my God, is Gary gonna find something? No, wait!
I hate him. Wait, no,
of
you're
hell.
still alive. You're still alive. He tried.
I mean, if you're
Yeah,
Gary,
you gotta respect it. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What? This character
Oh.
is so stupid.
Slamming heaven's door in their face. Gary is going to ensure that Rutgers winds up with as many stocks in the tank as Pharaoh was able to take them down to upon his elimination. So that is as poetic an end as you could ask for the Scarlet Knights. They move on with relative ease here.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, I mean, you definitely saw, you know, players like Crimson Abe and a solid character like Mr. L. That was clean, by the way, the triple. But yeah, you're seeing, you know, solid players in Seton Hall just, I want to say outclassed, really, by the Rutgers players, because when you have a player like Pharaoh who is kind of just able to keep his presence in itself was kind of the reason, kind of the forefront that Rutgers had to just, you know, plant that flag down and be like, this is our castle. We are going to defend it as much as possible from the Pirates. But yeah, I mean, crazy crew battles we saw today. We saw the potentials of so many players. Stu, hopefully you enjoyed all those crew battles, and GG's to all the other, you know, colleges that came by. But I think that's going to be it for crew battles, if I am not certain. So,
Is it?
Well, what we can say for sure, and I'm just going to check into my word. I think it's time for. I think it's ad time. Kelvin, hit it with the ad slides. You already know what's going on, man. We're out here in Tri-State. I can't see the ads, so I'm just going to tell you right now to follow us on Twitch. Hit that purple heart to follow at the very least. Subscribe if you're so inclined. But yeah, you already know what it is, man.
Sign up for Collision 2024, by the way. That's coming up in March in Parsippany. The Sheraton Hotels is an absolutely beautiful venue. I've been there last year when, you know, you saw SkyJ with the absolutely crazy run that he had. The atmosphere there is palpable, and you want to see Tri-State pull up. That's the place you want to go, Collision.
Honestly, I was stalling because I thought we had the ad slides pulled up. It turns out we didn't. So that's on